yesterday, Maria, aka I believe doxed name is James Osborne. I don't know if that's definitely true, but Maria Rael, whatever it is, the whole name, the pDAI dev, or worked for NASA but didn't really, wrote a paper about it once or something like that. There's just so many odd things. I don't know what to believe about the guy. I don't know what to believe about any of his intentions. And really, I don't think I really care that much. I think people are reading into it too much. But anyway, so factually, he does rotate out, sell a bunch of Atropa into Ethereum, sells pDAI into Ethereum. And I was chilling out, made a little trip to the little boy's room, pulled out my phone, as you do. And I'm like, oh, just look at the prices real quick. And yeah, Pulse at new all-time lows. Everything was absolutely bleeding like hell out of nowhere. And like probably anybody, I had a short-term panic real quick. I'm like, what the hell is going on? And you dig into it and stuff like that. And what I think is unfortunate is most people in that moment take to Twitter and just start posting, regardless of what it is, with whatever information it seems is right in front of them, highly emotional and all that stuff, and I think the best thing in those moments, whenever you're seeing price movements like that, is to figure out what's going on slowly and to not react. Like I literally just went for a walk with music on and was like trying to figure out what was going on. You know what I mean? I think that's what you really need to do to really, figure out what's going on. But anyway, what actually happened? So Maria said that the people behind it, very weird stuff. So he had a live stream, fired up a live stream of him selling and all these things, rotating it into ETH, saying potentially he'll bring it back in later. He says the people behind DAI are criminals out to get him. I'm not making this up. There's screenshots of it. It was in his chat. Or they broke into his aunt's house in Kentucky and stole guns or something like that. I don't know. This is just what I was getting out of it. He says Atropa is too tied to pDAI to expose, claims that Richard Hart has no involvement with pDAI. Sells half of his stack and says he's done for now. The whole ecosystem drops, obviously, because pDAI, we had that great stream with Axis that time, the web of pDAI, like how it's tied to so many different things. So that's why everything came down in the short term. So we have that, and then we have pDAI completely retrace it and come right back up. And, we can't even begin to get into like the sleuth nature of people from both sides of this. Nine Iron Capital has been an awesome pDAI guy from the beginning. We have Martin Storyteller taking the opposite end of all that and arguing, oh, here's another guy minting pDAI out of nowhere and selling it. And other people are saying that, well, it's because of this bad debt clearing up and blah, blah, blah. So just so many things back and forth. And then today, which we'll get to in a moment, Richard fires off a tweet. We'll read it in a minute here. That everybody's claiming they know exactly what he's meaning by it, and pDAI sells off again. So we'll get to that. There's just way too many things. So first off, what do you make, Ewok? If you want to get rid of the Pulse thing there.
That's the pDAI chart.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. I didn't see that. Okay. So what do you make of this stuff from Maria yesterday anyway? Like what?
A lot of confusion, a lot of insanity for him to just sit there and do it live. Yeah, I just showed that. He was also blaming Sami.
Yeah.
But I guess if there's a way to prove that you're exiting, it's a good way to show it. There wasn't any audio that I could hear when I tuned in. It was just a bunch of chit chat with sales happening essentially. It just confused me even more. So, I was on the anti-pDAI side, and then I was like, okay, well, maybe I'm hearing enough things that this is Richard. So I kind of jumped on board, and now I'm leaning back to the other side, thinking that there's something bad and nefarious going on. The reason I think that is when you look at the numbers, $4 million has been extracted from this chain in the last 4 months. And it hasn't been put somewhere else. Like, it's not like it's staying in the PulseChain. It's gone. It's over on Ethereum. And they're continuing to mint more. There's some sort of exploit that somebody has that is quite concerning, and people are still buying. People are there. I was just in a Spaces. It was a Twitter Spaces right before I jumped on here, listening to those guys, and they were having a good conversation. It was a little bit of both sides. It was more of what the exploit is and what's happening, and what, how to stop it. How do we stop the value detractor, essentially? And their big thing is, all right, what we need to do is remove liquidity for this, because it's pulling the price of everything else down, because of that web that we just talked about a few minutes ago when Axis was showing us the web. So there were calls put out to Randy Holarski with that group of there's the what's it called? I forget what. Do you remember the name of their value token, or like the combined pool?
I was reading this post we're about to do from Defizian about this stuff. So
okay. Either way, you weren't paying attention.
No,
that's fine.
Sorry,
it's fine. So I think we need to put a stop to the bleeding, at least before anything more happens. Try and get people to understand that there are bots running that make it look like it is still very active, and it is. There's buying and selling constantly, but apparently there are a lot of bots that are doing that trading to give it that volume. I think we need to put a stop to the bleeding, the value extraction, and stop giving them an exit, at least first, before anything gets decided on what happens. Is my opinion. That's kind of where we're at, though, at this point.